Hello everyone, welcome to the Human Reviews channel, and today we are listening to Weezer's Blue album. That's right, we are starting the Weezer discography now, ladies and gentlemen. We just finished doing the Led Zeppelin discography, which is fantastic. One of the most consistent bands that I have covered, one of the most incredible, energetic rock bands that are always providing great albums besides the last two that were a little bit rocky. I'm gonna be real. I have heard the first two Weezer albums. I've heard the one we're doing today, and I've heard Pinkerton, and I didn't like either of them. I found their first album to be just so awkward, so messy, just a complete tonal mess. And then I remember the second album just being so unbearably cringe that I struggled to finish it. So, I'm going into this having heard this album once, about a year ago, and I really didn't like it. In fact, I reviewed this on Album of the Year, and I gave it a 6 out of 10. That was generous. Looking back on it, that would probably be like a 5, maybe even a 4. So yeah, I'm going into this having heard it once, and hoping to get something different out of it this time. I'm hoping to leave this album seeing what other people see in it, because Fantano says this album's like a 10 out of 10. This album even grew on Brad taste to be an 8 out of 10. Everyone loves this album except me, so I'm hoping that I am able to finally see the vision after today. This album came out in 1994. It is 10 songs, 41 minutes. Not the longest album in the world, thankfully. Yeah, hopefully I come out of this thing enjoying it more than I did the first time. I'm hoping to see what everyone else sees in it. I'm hoping to finally have it click with me. But I'm not going in expecting that. I don't imagine that this is going to grow on me too much. But I have been sent in a couple songs off of this album and off of Pinkerton on my viewer music streams. And, you know, they grew on me a little bit. There's some that I came out liking more than I originally did. So that there's a glimmer of hope in all of this that I'm going to end up liking this. With that being said, enough yapping, enough stalling, enough blabbering. Let's get into this shit. Track 1, My Name is Jonas. I'm not displaying the song for some reason. Why won't the song display? There we go. For some reason the song... Oh, that's what's up with the chat. Okay, because the song wasn't fucking displaying. That still doesn't look right, but, you know, we'll work with it. Off to a pretty strong start, to be honest. It's a lot heavier than I remember. I mean, it is. He's not wrong. Fun riffing. Rivers Cuomo actually giving a pretty likable vocal performance here. I'm liking this more than I did the first time. Hey, you know what? I wasn't expecting to say this, but I like that a lot more than I did on a first listen. That's heavier than I remember it being. The riffing on that track is way more interesting than I remember as well. Rivers Cuomo's vocals as well. I remember that being a pretty big problem for me on the first listen, was just not liking Rivers Cuomo's voice in the slightest. But I think that he was actually providing a very fun, nerdy, but also charismatic enough kind of presence on this song that actually elevated this a decent amount. Hey, I'm impressed. It's a lot better than I remember it being. I give this song like a low 8, I think. Like 8.2, 8.3. Off to a much stronger start than I remember. Next track we have No One Else. And by that, Spotify doesn't want to play the song. There we go. It's satirical? Yeah. It's not taking itself seriously, it's clearly like taking the piss. Proto-Greek lyrics. Yeah. Songs of satire, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty clearly leaning into the tropes, the style of rock, sort of hamming it up a lot. Yeah. It's relatable. That song was fine. It's kind of cute. It's kind of don't want to say funny necessarily. It's a fun, ironic take on this style of rock, and you know, taking the piss out of people who write songs like these. It's fun, but I'm not crazy on the sound palette on that one. The production feels a little too raw. It's a little too sloppy. The performances on that song are very hit and miss as well. At some points, I feel like the riffs are going hard as hell. There's points that have me really moving. And then there's other points on that song where I'm not getting anything out of it. It kind of like balances out to about like a low 6 for me, like in the 6.3, 6.4 out of 10 range. It's fine. It's a very listenable song. It's just, compare it to the first song, and I didn't really pull all that much out of that I can say would really draw me to coming back to it at all. This one's actually grown on me a decent bit. I don't think it's like an amazing song or anything like that, but I think it's still a very fun, satirical take on this era of rock music that works really, really well in the background, especially when I'm like playing games or something. I'd probably give this closer to like a solid to high 7 at this point. It's a really fun track. Deserves a 7, restart the album. Look, listen. I warned you at the start that there's a very high chance that I still don't like this thing. But look, listen, we're off to a better start than it was the first time I listened to this. It's off to a much better start than the first time. Think about it, the album was ahead of its time. What, it predicted terminal online virginity? Is that what this... actually, if you think about it, yeah. The world has turned and left me here. I can see a little bit of emo in this, but this definitely isn't like full-on emo. I can kind of see connections to pop punk through this. Sounds like a Weezer song. Well, you don't want to sit down for this one. Yes, and that's why I don't like the album. I haven't mentioned how good the guitar tones are. They're pretty good. They're very grungy. Again, this is a lot heavier than I remember it being. Feels like it's taken a lot of influence from grunge. Like the guitar tones, and even just how sloppy the drums sound. It feels like more cleaned up, pop-oriented grunge, if that makes sense. And I guess, I was going to say that sort of describes pop-punk, but it doesn't. I don't know. I'm very conflicted about this album up to this point. Trying to piece my thoughts together is fucking impossible. Metal and the Beach Boys? I mean, you combine Metal and the Beach Boys, that's basically Nirvana, right? I'm joking, but I'm joking. I think I've kind of realized why I didn't connect with this album on a first listen and why I'm sort of connecting with it a little bit more now. This is very, like, meat and potatoes rock music, if that makes sense. It's very basic, it's very simple, and I think the thing with me the first time listening to it was hearing the amount of praise that got piled onto it. I think I was just expecting something a little bit more. And still there is a little bit of that for me where I'm like, maybe it's a little too basic for me. Maybe it could use a little bit more in terms of, you know, interesting riffs or maybe some less basic structures. But as is, I think this is okay, you know? Some are more complex. I remember Pinkerton gets a little less standard, from what I remember. That kick literally sounds like knocking on a door. That is the most dead kick sound ever, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. That's actually impressive that they got a kick sound like that. It literally sounds like someone knocking on a door. My Name is Jonas was complex. It had some interesting overall ideas, like blending the acoustics and the heavier stuff. And the way it blended them was actually pretty interesting. Yeah, that's fun. Okay. Yeah, the acoustic, bringing back the acoustic guitar is a really nice touch. Oh, is it transition? Oh, for fuck's sake, it's Buddy Holly up next. Okay. Honestly, that was my favorite up to this point. I give that one like a high 8, like an 8.8 to an 8.9. That was really, really great. Structurally, that song is easily the most interesting. It's the longest up to this point, and it feels like it really benefits from that, as all of the ideas are given a lot of time to be fleshed out, and it feels like the band are able to actually fully put together a complete experience of a song here, which I feel like no one else kind of did also suffer from a little bit, feeling like it could have done with an extra minute to just let its ideas breathe a little bit more. Writing-wise, that one was my favorite. There were multiple lines throughout that had me grinning. The backing vocals on the chorus were catchy as all hell as well. That was just a really fun song. This album isn't like blowing my mind or anything like that. I'm not seeing this as like the greatest rock album of all time, but I don't know, it's growing on me. I'm actually seeing myself enjoying this a good bit. Well, everyone's heard this one. You know, I can't bring myself to hate this song. I can't bring myself to hate this song anymore. I can. It's okay. The song's fine. These guitars are amazing. It's been forever since I listened to this song with headphones. Like, my mum plays this song a lot, just like through her Alexa. You forget how great the guitars sound when they're actually like layered and panned and stuff. The song sounds pretty great. There it is. Wow, he did the thing, guys. He did the thing. Look, like I said, I cannot physically bring myself to hate this song, okay? It's fun. It's nerdy. It's intentionally as awkward as possible. The guitars are layered fantastically on that track. And Rivers Cuomo does provide some of the better vocals on the album at this point as well. But I can't stand the writing. I fucking hate the writing on that song, and when it goes into the fucking rapping section, it's so bad. Look, it's a cute song. I look at it and I'm like, okay, this is some fun nerdy bullshit, but man, there are parts of this song that do genuinely get on my nerves, and I just can't bring myself to come back to it regularly. It's a low 7. It's like a 7.2, 7.3, somewhere in that range. It's a fun song. It's good, okay? It's grown on me from being like a 2 out of 10, you know? At least an 8. Look, I'm sorry, man. It's at least a 9. Look, I could sit here and be really grumpy and miserable and give it a 4, okay? Be grateful that you're getting a 7. Undone, the Sweater song. I remember this one, I think. Oh, it's this one. Yeah, I remember this. I could also I'm gonna re-listen to this album, like, before I get the video out. I know this song's good. I remember really liking this one. This is a lot like OK Computer. I don't think it is. Guitar, bass, drums, and vocals, and some effects. I mean, when you put it that way. See, this just sounds amazing. Bringing in the acoustic guitar for some added texture here. Great solo. Another 2 minutes of this song after this. I don't remember anything beyond this point. I just remember the chorus, really. I think I can kind of see that comparison. Ending's crazy. Yeah, it's a great finish to this song. Yeah, Undone is just as good, if not a little bit better than I remember it being. Which is absolutely incredible. Seriously. Catchiest song on the album up to this point, easily. It's the heaviest song on the album up to this point as well. That chorus goes hard as hell. The layers on this shit are insane. This is kind of like this song is exactly what I want out of a Weezer album, basically. It's just the band just letting loose, not taking themselves seriously, which they haven't done on the entire album, to be fair, and just making some stupid heavy music. That's exactly what I want. And it's 5 minutes as well, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. They actually pack this with so much interesting shit that keeps it feeling fresh all the way throughout. And that ending goes hard as hell as well. Like, it has this massive build-up before going into this weird, like, out there creepy shit right at the end. The song was very fun. It is, like, maybe even better than I remember it being. I don't know what score I would have given it originally. Solid, like, 9 for me, like a 9.4. Easily the best up to this point. Up next we have Surfwax America.
See us foaming like a bottle of beer. The wave is coming, but I ain't got no fear. Wax it down because it's really a blast. Go and surf because I don't like your face. You take your car to work, I'll take my board.
Beach Boys reference.
My buddies see us rolling like 1,000-pound keg. We're going surfing all along the undertow is strengthening its old.
Okay. It's not the lyrics. I don't care about the lyrics. It's the sound here that I'm not crazy on. Trust me, I've learned to not give a shit about the lyrics. The sound of this song isn't doing too much for me. That switch up went hard though. That switch up was great. Feel like it should be more of a surf progression. I feel like them going for like a surf rock thing, like a full-on surf rock thing here, would make it a little too on the nose. The second half of that song was really strong, but I didn't really give a shit about the first half. The first half just felt instrumentally really flaccid. Didn't feel like there were any moments that really grabbed my attention all that much. I just kind of found it to be, I don't know, it just felt like background white noise for the most part. But moving into the second half, you get that instrumental switch up where the drums start getting a little more sporadic, and then it sort of goes into this more calm, much slower section before punching back in with a chorus with way more layered guitars, sounding way heavier. And I thought that the second half really did pick that up. Second half, that shit sounded absolutely fantastic. And I kind of wish that it had that bombastic, sporadic energy all the way throughout, because, again, that song just kind of feels like one that returning to this album would just be a little difficult to get into. I don't know, as is, I think that it's an okay track. It's like a flat 6 for me, because the second half of that really does pick it up so much. Still, there's not been any bad songs up to this point. I'm shocked about that. I went into this thing expecting it to be like half 4 out of 10s and then half like 7 out of 10s. But no, everything's been 6 and above so far. It's been decently smooth sailing. I'm kind of impressed. Say It Ain't So. I've heard this song, obviously. Well, I've heard all of these songs, but I remember this song. Isn't this their biggest song on Spotify? Oh no, Island in the Sun is. This is their second biggest.
Somebody's hiding, it's drowning my icebox. Somebody's cold one is giving me chills. Feels good inside. Say it ain't so.
Iconic chorus. Goes hard. I'm actually gonna turn this shit up on mine a little bit.
My love is a life taker. This way is a water slide away from me that takes it fuller every day. Say it ain't so. Dear Daddy, I write you in spite of his silence. Like father, stepfather, the sun is drowning in.
Oh, is this about alcoholism? Okay. I see.
love. Yes, a
Guitar sounds amazing here. Jesus. Listening with headphones does give me a greater appreciation for the sound of this album, because just hearing my mum play these songs through her Alexa, it takes out a lot of the dynamics. There's a story behind this song, it might be on Genius. I'll take a look. We've got an official annotation here by Rivers Cuomo. Okay, never mind. It's just him describing why he uses the word icebox. Yeah, not seeing like an official story in here. It just seems to be about him being a kid and being surrounded by alcoholism. And for an album that has been very unserious up to this point, not unserious in a bad way necessarily, it's just not taking itself seriously. Having a song in here that's about something a little darker, that's about something a little more personal, is really nice. It kind of adds a little bit of weight and a little bit of gravity to the album, and kind of allows it to be not just seen as a joke all the way through. It's nice that they're actually bringing in a song that isn't just completely ridiculous and them just dicking about, you know? Say It Ain't So is a low 9 for me. This song is amazing, and knowing the actual lyrical content of this song and understanding what it actually means makes it even better. Before, I probably would have given this song like a flat 8, but knowing the lyrical content and hearing it in the context of the album makes it a lot stronger. This shit is, it's placed perfectly as well, landing, you know, towards the middle of the albums. It does add a lot of weight to this. Shit goes hard. It's a great song. One of the strongest up to this point. The consensus so far is this album is better than I remember it being, but I still can't say that I fully love it. I still have my issues with this. I still think this album has a lot of shortcomings and things that don't appeal to me, but it is way better than I remember it being. Next track, In the Garage. Yeah.
I've got Dungeon Master's Guide. I've got Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, the bass is going crazy. Okay, yeah, this is full on Virgin music. Look at this shit. Dungeons and Dragons, X-Men, Kiss, and then whoever the hell these people are. I don't know these names. This is Virgin core music, which is why I hate this. 0 out of 10. Oh, they're from Kiss? Okay. Oh no, Peter Criss. I know Peter Criss. Wow, this is Redditor music right here. Listen, I'm also a nerd, okay? And it's a bit much for me, but it's kind of cute. I can't hate this. I can't necessarily relate to this, but I appreciate it. I'm like, I see. So about being a nerd, what about you love the most? Yeah. And having a place where you can just go and be yourself. It's a nice, sweet sentiment of a song. Yeah, solo was nice. That was a I was wondering if that was a harmonica or just a guitar with an effect. It was so subtle, like barely audible. Really cool though. Yeah, you can hear it more clearly here. Listen, I say I can't relate to this. I say this is a little too nerdy for me. But let's be real here. We swap out Dungeons and Dragons for like, I don't know, Star Wars. You can probably keep the X-Men. I like X-Men. And then if we swap Kiss for Radiohead, and then we swap the garage for a basement, and it's basically me. If you think about it, it is basically me. Just just in an alternate timeline, you know. The song's great. It's fun. It's cute. It's just him singing about the shit that he's nerdy about and having a place where he can just go and like not be judged by anyone for liking the shit he likes. It's fun. It's silly. It's a nice, adorable track and a very sweet sentiment to have on the album. And also the chorus goes hard as fuck on this one. 8.5. Yeah, this shit sounds great. I got no real complaints about that one. Up next we have Holiday. Is this... Yes, I am in the basement. This is being recorded in the basement.
Let's go away for a while, you and I, to a strange and distant land.
Beach Boys reference. I actually remember this one. The Doctor Who figures. I've got a Doctor Who poster upstairs that I want to put somewhere in here. It's your favourite Weezer song? I actually remember this one a good bit from when I first listened to this. This song's fun. These two were not meant to be the standouts. I mean, they're not like the standouts on the album, but they're fun. As long as I only got signed to a label? Okay. Very Beach Boys indeed. Oh, damn. This one's underrated. That felt like the most pop punky song so far, especially that fucking super heavy build up. That took me completely by surprise. That was like the heaviest moment on the whole album. Jesus Christ, the guitars were blaring and those cymbals sounded like he was like fucking could snap him in half with how hard he was in, and that was great. The back half of this album has been nothing but heat so far, besides me not being too crazy on Surf X America. You got a crazy 3-track run going here. 8.9 for me, like just below a 9. So good. Slowdown was also good. The slowdown took a second to like get adjusted to. I thought in the moment that it was a bit of an awkward break in the pace, but I don't know. After it went back into the build-up, it sort of clicked with me a little bit, and it was nice to see him directly referencing their Beach Boys influence in such an overt way on one of these songs. The song was fucking great. Man, I went into this expecting to like maybe have this album shrink on me. I don't know. I'm happy it's clicking with me a little bit more. We're down to the final song, ladies and gentlemen. I've only been recording for 50 minutes. We fucking speed run through this album. Final song, Only in Dreams. 8 minutes. Very Chris Novoselic bass intro. Okay, now it sounds like Blink-182. Anavrin, yeah. You can definitely see some Nirvana influence in this. There's been lots of grungy moments throughout this album.
Oxygen and carbon dioxide. Only in dreams exist, and so it seems. Only in dreams.
Yeah, I'm still torn on this kick sound that they got going here. Sounds like the mic's being placed inside of the kick drum. It sounds like someone knocking on a fucking door. Fountains of Wayne? That is not a name I expected to hear as a suggestion. Not anytime soon, but maybe at some point.
Reach out our hands, hold on to hers. Only in dreams.
I'm fascinated to see what the final moments of this song are. Because I don't remember this at all. We've got another, 3.5 minutes to go? Best part is coming. Listen to Pinkerton after this? Maybe. We've gone through this album fast. They're really drawing this build-up out. I love that. Oh, let's do it another round. Whoa. Okay. Don't look up what this solo is a metaphor for. Time to get Genius up. Alright. Oh, is it lagging? Now it's back. Yeah, there's not been any issues on mine. I think it might be OBS. Looks like we're restarting. No. Song ends off just how it started. That's pretty cool. Better than Buddy Holly? Yes, that song is better than Buddy Holly. Only in Dreams is a fantastic way to close this. It's a big, ambitious, insane fucking piece to close this off on, dude. I completely forgot about the vast majority of this song, and the fact that they are able to pull off an 8-minute closer is insane. Like, I saw the 8-minute runtime and I was a little worried. I was like, oh god, it's probably gonna drag a bunch. But no, they have like a 3.5-minute instrumental outro that feels actually genuinely satisfying. It doesn't feel like it's them dragging it. It doesn't feel like it doesn't warrant its runtime. It gives you 8 minutes worth of substance in this 8-minute song. And I'm impressed by that. The fucking build up in the back half was amazing. The way the song sort of builds itself up and then strips it back down to what it was in the beginning at the very end there is really, really great. Such a interesting, satisfying way to close this off. And not only that, I think the pacing of this shit is fantastic. Yeah, song's a flat 9 for me. One of the best songs on the whole album. Didn't do anything prog influence after this for 20 years. Hey, that's bad aim, is what I call that. That's bad aim. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Blue album. I'm happy to report that coming back to it like a year and a half later, a year later, however long it's been, this album has grown on me. I think that this album is a very fun, silly, very casual, easy listening journey. It's heavy, it's got plenty of bangers on it, but despite that, I do still have some minor gripes with this. I do feel like the ridiculousness does get a little bit too much for me at certain points. I think that there are certain tracks where the very raw production sort of leaves them feeling a little empty, a little flaccid. I do think that the flow at certain points can get a little bit awkward as well. There are certain songs that feel like they should be longer, and like the placement of them does kind of make the album feel a little bit wonky in terms of how it actually flows in and out of each track. But all in all, despite my minor gripes with this, it's grown a lot. I'm happy to report that I can now give this album a positive score instead of like a 5 out of 10. It's actually it's grown a decent bit. I don't think it's like the best rock album ever. It didn't blow my mind, but for what it is, for being a nice, basic, simple, heavy rock album, it does its job pretty well. Why don't I take notes as I listen to music? I used to do that, but then I realized it just got too distracting. I used to do that. I'm going to add up my scores, and then I will tell you what the big number for the album is. Okay. I'm feeling an 8.1 out of 10 on this album. This thing has gone from a 6 to a 5 to an 8 out of 10. That's character growth right there. Okay? Now I see it as more than just a joke album. I see it as more than just an awkward, boring pile of bullshit. I see the appeal, and I'm happy to say that it appeals to me now more than it did beforehand. Yeah, this album's just really fun, and I can honestly maybe see it growing on re-listens, because I'm going to be re-listening to the album at least twice before I get this video out, so who knows, maybe that score will even go up for me. Yeah, score hasn't really changed all that much. I still think the album's great, still think it's a really fun listen, just hasn't really grown or shrunk on me, or still give it an 8.1, I think. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below. Do you think it's one of the greatest albums of all time, or you like me before this and think it's overrated? Let me know what other albums you'd like to see me listen to in the future as well. Links in the description to my Discord, my album of the year, my Twitter, and my other channels. Check those out if you haven't. Like and sub if you haven't as well. We just hit 2K and now we're trying to go to 3K. And yeah, I'll see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Bye bye.